Home Impodcast time.
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam. You'll know my co-host, Jordan. Hey, Jordan, you like train?
What a great segue at the start of this episode. I love... do you mean like choo-choo trains or just train?
First,
the artist.
The artists. I mean the artist, Jordan. I want to dive right into it this week and talk about...
Is he the guy who does Soul Sister?
Yeah, it's a band, though. It's not one person. I want to make that known
Are you sure?
right now. Yeah, I think it's a band.
Which one of them is the caboose?
Okay. So, yeah, they... Jordan, you know about this, right? I feel like Jay Leno. Hey, you guys hear about the thing with train?
Well, we did talk about it briefly. It's a really great article that you found on this...
It's a Republican website?
Is it?
Yeah. It's like something Republican.
Well, that could be anything, really.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But, essentially, Train is doing a greatest hits tour, and they're doing...
We've all been clamoring for it. I can't believe they've been around for 20 years.
Hey, Drops of Jupiter. That's an old song. You know that one.
Nope.
You would if you heard it. I'm not going to sing it.
Probably. Yeah, I'd like you to.
She's back in the atmosphere, the drops of Jupiter in her hair. You know that one?
It doesn't sound like something that's familiar.
Did you fall from a shooting star?
Oh, I got it now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, good.
I just needed that part. Yeah, I need the chorus.
Yeah. The Milky Way part is famous. They're doing a greatest hits tour, and part of that is they have released one of their band members' favorite song is "Careless Whisper" by George Michael. And there's a music video, Jordan, and in the music video we have what the article refers to as "Sexy Sax Man" Kenny G. I thought
you were going to say "Sexy Sax Man" Richard Karn.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that, and none other than Richard Karn, who the article refers to as Al Borland.
Who needs the D, right?
Yeah, I mean, forget about the D. I watched it. It's interesting.
Is that how you would describe it?
It's quirky. it's fun.
You just don't expect him to show up, is that why? I mean, what? I mean, the article doesn't say, I guess, why he's in there, but
Jordan, we can't even begin to speculate the inner workings of the artist known as Train. I mean, Train is he's such a weird guy, that Train.
Especially the caboose part. I think maybe we should reach out to Karn, see what that whole appearance was about. Kind of get the inside exclusive, as we usually do.
Should I slide into his DMs?
I can't think of any better way to do that.
You still got his cell, right?
I got his home and his cell, so I think we can get a hold of him one way or another, and then he'll put us on like a do not call list or some sort of stalker, get some problems going for us in that way. But
I'm always excited to see the Karnman, and this was no different. So it's fun. I don't get it, but it sure is fun.
You don't have to get it with the Karnman. It just happens. It's like, what was that? You told me he got a new sponsorship spot. Was it the 50 Floors or something like that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was like a flooring company that recently hired him to do a commercial or something. Are there multiple people sending me commercials of Richard Karn?
Hey, man, I'm just telling you, I don't know what you're talking about. That's all I can say.
All right, well, look it up. He's there.
Okay.
Yeah, you never know where they're going to pop up. And another place that they popped up recently was the Toy Story 4 teaser trailer that just dropped by Disney.
Oh, and hell yeah.
Yeah, finally. I'm pretty sure... yeah, I think you got an exclusive email. You've been on like this newsletter just waiting for it to drop.
They're doing a fourth Toy Story. I've been waiting for 10 years? Probably.
10 years, 20 years. Okay. I mean, you just watched it for the first time. I'd like to know your instant analysis and reaction.
I really liked it because it's Key and Peele, and they're parodying one of my favorite Key and Peele sketches, which is basically it's like these two guys are, I think they're doormen or they're valets, and they just kind of riff on, usually it's Liam Neeson, who they call Liam Neeson's. and I really like it. So I thought that it was really funny because I like that sketch a lot, and you get Buzz and Woody at the end, and it's a perfect teaser trailer. I really liked it.
Yeah, a minute 26 of just fun, really.
Yeah,
and,
I was glad
I can't wait to see a full trailer, really.
I was glad you had me watch it because I don't think I would have otherwise.
Yeah, I think I came across it on Twitter at some point, so I figured you probably weren't following any handles that would share that kind of information. So.
I'm following at Toy Story 4. I don't know if that is reputable or not. But.
Yeah, it's unofficial fan account.
Jordan, I didn't even ask, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
My mom was recently here. I would say in our top
Hey, that's
three,
my mama.
top 3 of fans, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Be careful. She did watch, so I watched this episode once while she was here, so I got to enjoy that with her, which is something that probably hasn't happened for many, many years. So
my mom watches every episode with me. She just doesn't listen to the podcast.
Well, you kind of test everything out on her, and then if she laughs, you'll say it on the air. Yeah,
but she writes all my jokes for me and proofreads my script. This is scripted, by the way, like Tool Time.
Either I'm proofreading everything you do or your mom, so
we make it seem like it's off the cuff, but really everything is scripted down to the second.
Well, it's amazing how we make it feel so authentic, and
all those times, very shoddy.
All those times where I can't really understand what I'm saying. Yeah, we write those too.
Yeah, your mispronunciations are all part of the grand plan.
Well, now it's kind of it's one of those moments where people drink, or we used to talk about the Detroit Lions sweater, and you'd yell something and all that kind of stuff. So
that's true. That is true. Jordan, what are we covering this week? Let's get into it.
All right, episode 111. 111.
Whoa.
This is going to be That's My Momma. This one was written by Rosalind Moore and Howard J. Morris. That was written.
Scripted. We wrote that. That was in the script.
Rosalind last did Advise and Repent. And
don't remember it.
Don't remember it. Don't want to talk about it. Howard J. Morris last did The First Temptation of Tim, in which we met Bud for the first time.
You are really leaning into your mispronunciation this evening. That's My Momma is so close to another title, Don't Tell Mama. Really, really close. Both have MOMMA as well.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I can't be really mad at them for kind of reusing the same type of line.
Because there's 3,000 episodes?
Yeah, and when we get to alternative titles here in a moment, I really struggled to come up with any. So
okay.
I really can't say anything. But before we do that, I just want to make note that this episode aired on December 5th, 1995. I wanted to get that in there. It's very important that we do that.
Well, you know what's exciting, Jordan? We are lined up perfectly this season because our Halloween episode came in October, and our Christmas episode's going to come kind of close to Christmas, so... Yeah, fortuitous.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
it's
fortuitous.
Perfect. And our Rush Hour episode is never going to come, so there you go.
We have not been in a rush to do that Rush Hour episode. No, let's just say that.
Slow hour. Let's get to alternative titles. I don't even really know how many I have here. I'm just going to decide at the moment if I want to read them or not. So how many do you have?
1, 2, 5.
5. Okay. I think you'll go first then.
Not necessarily 5 good ones. Okay, I'll start with this one. Mama said, "Knock it off."
It's a good one.
Thank you.
This is a lesser-known Mitch Albom book.
Go ahead. The 5 mothers you meet in heaven? Weird.
No. Sundays with Mommy.
That is lesser known. That's good. Okay, sorry. I'm just thinking about Mitch Albom.
That's all right. What are you thinking about Mitch Albom right now?
Where do you land on Mitch Albom?
Where is there to land? I suppose
you either like him or you don't. I mean, like
I like him just fine.
Okay, all right. Well, I won't.
Where do you land with Mitch?
I think he's kind of corny.
Okay, right, but you're inclined to think anyone like that is corny, so it's on brand for you.
Like what?
Well, all I know is you don't like Mitch Albom and you don't like Icebreakers. That's all I know.
All right, next one. Mother knows best. It was there.
Listen to your mother. All right, this is a singing one.
Okay.
Lucy in the bar with Mr. Leonard.
That's hilarious because I did Lucy in the house with Tim.
And the gonna keep singing, "Don't you want your mama to love?"
Pretty good. Jordan, I actually have 6 this week, so that's all right, this is my last not good one. The Good Son. It's a Macaulay Culkin horror movie.
Man, there is just a lot of horror movies I've never heard of.
Well, I'm not surprised you haven't heard of that one.
All right. I've got one more singing one. I feel my mom move near me.
You were really feeling musically inclined this week.
Yeah, I just started looking for songs with mom in the title. Something like that.
All right, last 2. A little raunchy, Jordan. Make sure the daughter's out of the room, okay?
Yeah, she's gone.
Mr. Leonard's.
I was expecting much raunchier than that.
I'll wait for the last one. All right. Of the Irish.
Well, you saved the best for last, right there.
Yeah, I had to do it. Sorry, it was there. I know,
You said "Mama Knows Best" was there, but that was absolutely there.
I was thinking. There.
I can't tell you how long I thought about the Blarney Stone and where that would fit in, but it just never came together. So
it's funny because I didn't think about it for a second.
You've never liked the Blarney Stone.
Mitch Albom and the Blarney Stone are on my list, man. All right.
Want to open in the garage?
All right. Let me find my notes here. I watched this one a while back, so bear with me, everybody.
Are you only watching them once now?
No, I'm still watching them twice. But I
back to back.
It was like Tuesday. This is not interesting. We don't need to get into this. It was a while ago.
I have one other question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What happened to the periscopes that you used to do?
What happened to the periscopes? We got so far ahead that I couldn't do them anymore, but now we are not nearly as motivated, so I think I can start doing them because we're recording pretty close to air date. So you can be looking for those this holiday season.
Oh, baby.
Home Impodcast, giving gifts. All right,
you want to open? Sure. Let's open in the garage. We've got Tim and Mr. Art Leonard, the old shop teacher. He's there, and Tim showing him his new hot rod project, to which there's a lot of jokes where Mr. Leonard can't really believe that he can complete a car and all this kind of stuff. Tim shows some pictures, and he's got, it's that old joke where, you have a wallet and it has all those little slots for pictures, and he drops like 8 of them, and they all have the hot rod in it. And it turns out he sold it.
Do you like that?
It was fine. I feel like
saw it coming a mile away, right?
The joke where he says something like, "I'm glad I'm not in your family" because he sold the hot rod.
Yeah.
Did we not have that joke already before?
I don't remember it, but you're probably right.
Here's someone who's memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Marty comes in.
Yeah, wonder why. I guess I get why, but man, I don't know. Not worth him getting in the car and going to set that day.
Yeah, well, he's gonna come in, and they're talking about their mom. Apparently, he was just chatting with mom or something, and this surprises Tim because he gets the impression every time that they talk on Sunday, Sundays with mommy, that that they don't. I mean, she's not interested in talking; she just wants to get in and get out, and there's kind of a little bit of elaborating on the subject where Marty and Tim talk about stuff that. I guess Lucille is her name. We learn in the next scene, but she goes to Vegas and she wants some money in Vegas. She goes on a travel group. All this stuff that Tim doesn't know, and so he's a bit perplexed. And we get right away that maybe Tim and his mother are not that close, or as close as he thinks they are.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really.
We also find out she's coming to visit.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it really is going to be fun.
It's going to be a real, just a barn-burning episode right there. So let's move on.
You probably found this episode relatable because your mother was visiting as you watched this episode. Were there parallels to be drawn?
I wrote a whole kind of research paper, and I'm going to post it to the website after this. I think everyone will be very interested.
Yeah, people like to read long things.
Long form, baby.
Long form. Too long, didn't read. Next scene, kitchen. Jill's making an interesting meal. I don't know. I don't remember what it is now because I wrote this a week ago. But
it was interesting. I saw a really long loaf of bread cut in half, and then
garlic bread?
So, either that or like a really long sub that she's going to cut up.
Yeah, what's she boiling?
That's a great question.
Jordan, I want you to think for a second. What could she be boiling that would go on? Boil ham and put it on a sub?
Boiled cabbage.
On a sub, though, I don't know. Okay,
it's an Irish tradition. You wouldn't understand.
The Blarney Stone.
Yeah. The other thing that they might have been doing, again, the boiling would not help with this, is have you ever made French bread pizzas?
I've not made them, but I can envision what it's like.
Do you like the idea?
Yeah, I do.
All right. She's making something, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, she's making something. Tim's mom arrives, and her name is Lucille, and she's played by Bonnie Bartlett. Jordan, do you associate this woman with any one role?
You always say that, and I never have an answer, so no.
She's Feeney's wife in Boy Meets World.
Oh my gosh.
Dean Leela Bolander. I reckon I associated her with that right away.
It's been so long since I've seen that show, and it's been a long time since we talked about Karn. Is now a good time?
It's always a good time. It's funny. I thought that Feeney's wife, Dean, the Dean. I thought she was in like all the episodes. I'm looking now, and she was only in 5 total. She's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Home Improvement episodes as well. Her name is Bonnie Bartlett, best known for Twins, St. Elsewhere, V, The Grass Harp. She was in Better Call Saul last year. She's quite old at this point. She was born in 1929, so she would be 71, about 89 years old. So, yeah, good for her.
That's instant math right there.
Shoot, son of a mathematician. She won two.
It's weird because
go ahead.
If we go down that rabbit hole, I have a feeling that when we were in the same math class together, you were
cheating
using my notes. So
well, you know, I just
in a class that your dad taught, no less.
How do you think I kept doing it? He didn't care. She won 2 Primetime Emmys for St. Elsewhere as well. So
wow, way to go, Lucy or Bonnie, I suppose.
Whichever. She comes in and she's feisty. Jordan, she's a little bit feisty.
I like it.
Where do you think she lives? Where's she coming from? Question I had.
It seems like somewhere in Michigan to me because Tim drives to like fix her car and fix the windows. He talks about later on. So I would imagine it's within driving distance. So it's either like right around Indiana, Ohio border or Michigan somewhere. Yeah. Or Canada, perhaps.
I'm not getting that vibe. She wasn't that nice.
My question is, who drinks club soda?
Old people in TV shows. That's my answer.
I've never seen anyone ever drink a club soda in real life, but I feel like in TV shows, it happens at least once a season.
I'm going to expose myself here. What is club soda just like carbonated water?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, or is it?
I think, yeah, and they use it in a lot of like mixer drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what? My brother-in-law, I have seen order carbonated water at a dinner before. For what it's worth.
I gotta talk to him.
Hey, me too. It's been a while. I don't know what he's up to.
Well, I was gonna say mostly because I haven't talked to him for a while and I miss him. So.
But no, here's what I know about club soda because you hear it in TV shows and movies. Good for getting out stains. Yeah,
absolutely.
Stains. Yeah, absolutely. Club soda and water. That's all I know. All right. She comes in. She's the cool grandma, Jordan.
Absolutely.
She kind of plays by her own rules. She tips the kids for bringing in her luggage, and there's some banter about. They try to say a little bit more to get extra tips.
She's pretty or something like that, and they get extra tips,
Yeah, it doesn't work. But eventually Brad says something that does get him an extra tip.
That is the pretty remark.
That is the pretty part. I think Randy says, like, you're our favorite grandma or something, and she's like, nah, not having it.
They would not say favorite grandpa because, you can't get better than the Colonel. You can't.
Want to hear about Korea?
Lucy also plays golf. She's kind of a boss.
Yeah, she's cool. There's a knock at the door, and it is Mr. Leonard. He left his vest there. Tim is wearing it, which was kind of funny. Lucille and Mr. Leonard, they have a relationship just from when Tim was in school, and he gave Mr. Leonard so much trouble, and they're immediately kind of flirting, right? He's very smitten with her, and she's not exactly turning him away. That's really all I have for this scene.
They have a pretty in-depth relationship for like a teacher / parent. I mean, I guess I get the idea that perhaps Mr. Leonard had, the Taylor boys there's, a few Taylor boys, so maybe a few
Marty
years.
knows them as well, right?
Yeah,
Marty recognizes them.
But still, they're like you said, very friendly. The sparks are in the air. I can feel it. I can feel the heat, baby.
Yeah, it was hot. Almost too hot. Almost too hot.
You had to turn off the show and come back later.
That's why I could watch it in separate increments. It was just getting too hot. So
you skipped ahead 10 seconds because you couldn't handle it.
That's why, there you have it. So later on, she recently went on a trip to Ireland, and Tim learned that from Marty earlier in the episode. And, Mr. Leonard is acting as though he's interested in these Ireland photos. I can't imagine, how, but...
This is your least favorite thing ever. People showing photos of when they travel.
I'm so thankful it's not a thing anymore, because, I just could not do it.
I think next time you come here, I'm going to set you down in front of the wall, put on the projector, show some trips that I've been on.
I think technology has probably done some things for our society that haven't been so spectacular, but the elimination of having to look at people's vacation pictures is really, really great. That's a good thing.
I had to do this the other day, a month ago. I went over to a friend's, but it was cool. He went to Iceland. I thought it was cool.
So, did he pull out his phone, or he had actual pictures?
I think they were on his computer or TV or something, an airdrop from your Mac.
I promise to never show you pictures from somewhere I've been.
And that's my vow. I want to know what it was like in Brazil. I want to know what it was like in England. I want to know what it was like in China.
Build a time machine. I haven't been to China.
Not yet.
So, Mr.
Blarney
Leonard,
Stone?
he starts talking about the Blarney Stone, and then he said, it was almost painful to watch. He's like, all this talk about the Blarney Stones got me wanting to, what is this? Is it an Irish?
An Irish coffee.
Irish coffee. I was going to say Irish car bomb. That's different. An Irish coffee. What do you say we go down?
Hilarious if he said he wanted an Irish car bomb.
He wants to really go for it tonight. He wants to go down to McAuliffe's, the Irish pub. Tim thinks that's a great idea, but Tim's not really invited. Lucille at first acts as if she's not interested. Jill gives her permission, then she promptly heads out, and Tim does not like it. He's jealous.
You know what would have made this episode a lot better?
Irish car bombs.
One, Irish car bombs. Two, Tim. There's a scene where Tim goes down to spy on them.
Yeah, it would have been really. That's always funny. That's never not been funny in a TV show.
Yeah, so they really missed the boat on that one.
He's got a costume on and stuff.
He probably is wearing a kilt or something. I don't know.
Just for sure.
I'd love to see it. It does not happen. They do leave. And Tim is immediately kind of complaining here about his mom leaving. She just got there and now she's leaving. And Jill is a lot more understanding. And they move to the next scene and it's 3 a.m. Lucy just got home. Tim is up waiting for her, and he meets her as she comes in, and there's kind of a little bit of abrasiveness between the two. Lucy's like, I'm an adult, and Tim is a little bit frustrated that she left, and she flips it around pretty quickly. Apparently they shut down the bar, and Art is just very easy to talk to, which I guess I understand. He seems friendly enough from all the times that we see him, unless you're talking about his hands or trying to make him snip some metal or something.
Yeah. And, we also do think she's very lonely as well. In this big old dress. We didn't say earlier, but Tim kind of dismisses her when she comes in.
Yeah.
She mentions the house is kind of drafty, and that I think she has something wrong with her back or her leg. And Tim is just...
I think her knee, yeah.
Her knee. He's not very receptive to any of her complaints, or he doesn't really seem to listen to what she says necessarily.
He just makes jokes, He turns into an ape. He makes ape noises.
Yeah.
In this scene in particular, she's like, I'm going to go up to bed. It's 3 a.m. And as she goes up, Tim says a snide remark that makes her come back down. He's really egging her on into this fight, and they move into the garage.
Only bad things happen in that garage.
This is where real conversations happen. So they start to hash it out. And like you said, just kind of explaining what happened in the last couple of scenes, Tim says she says that Tim is not interested in having real conversations. They talk about the loneliness and the joking, all that kind of stuff. And they really make no headway before Lucy calls it a night and Tim is left frustrated.
You head into the garage and you stop being polite and you start being real. That's what happens.
Absolutely. This is Real Garage.
Real Garage. That's a good alternative title. What do you make of Tim's behavior up to this point in the episode? Is it forgivable, or is he just being a baby?
I mean, he's definitely being a baby, and I think it almost stems a little bit from, like, jealousy, because he, initially when it starts, Marty comes in talking about, like, all the stuff that they talk about, and he just doesn't get it. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's redeemable, but he's obviously being a little turd, so.
A little turd, yeah. You're right. That's what I was thinking. All right. Next day, we're in the living room. And Lucy, she's taking the grandkids out for ice cream breakfast, but they're supposed to act as though they're going to the healthy vegetable.
You know what sounds terrible, besides the healthy vegetable and everything they mention?
Ice cream breakfast?
Yeah, that's all. Why would you want that?
I don't know, they're kids, they like candy. I don't think you're supposed to think about it all that.
Have a waffle and some syrup or something. Good gracious.
I mean, if it's like 8 a.m., yeah, I guess I really don't want ice cream.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 11. That's all right.
Kids in the 90s, I tell you
90s. What. Us 90s kids loved ice cream.
We put syrup on our pasta and everything else.
You said it, mister. But the healthy vegetable ruse does not fool Jill. On the way out, Lucy asks, what do you want from the healthy vegetable? Can we get you anything? And she says, a pint of mint chocolate chips. So she knows the score. She knows what's up.
I like the... I don't know. I kind of like the idea that, because Lucy talks about how this is like a thing they do every time she comes to visit. I like the idea that they do something special like this every time that she comes. I think it's a kind of like a cool, I don't know, like a real moment. Like, this is something that her grandma would really do. They would tradition
and stuff.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. So I think it was a cool world building moment. But as you said, Jill is not fazed. She kind of is on to everybody in this episode, and Tim is not. And Tim comes down. As they leave, he shares the results of last night's convo and how it did not go well.
Screws up some lines. Messes up some lines. Did you notice?
I did not. What does he say wrong? Do you remember?
He just like fumbles over his words as he wants to do.
There's an outtake. I don't know if you watched, and it was the scene. So it sounds like he did struggle with the scene a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Jill's surprised she saw this coming a mile away. She talks about how he always just asks about the car. Tim, on the other hand, feels like he's there for her. His way of loving her and building a relationship with her is fixing her car and going to her house and helping with the windows and other such things. So, and Jill says, you know what? Maybe your mom has changed and she wants to talk more about feelings, which is a man's worst nightmare, I tell you what.
Oh, man, I can't imagine having to deal with that. Can you?
Feelings. Blah.
Oh, yeah, I know. It'd suck. That would be like just a nightmare if my mom wanted to talk about her feelings with me. I'm kidding.
All right. You want to go to the Copper Pot?
Is that what this place is called?
I think so. I thought I saw something on... It was backward, but I think it said copper, and then there was like a coffee pot. So I guess it was the Copper Pot.
That's good investigatory work, Jordan. P.I. Lions.
It comes out. I just finished the latest Robert Galbraith novel, so that's where it came from.
You're gonna make me sick. I don't know who Robert Galbraith is, but I heard J.K. Rowling's a billionaire and she's really cashing those checks.
Cormoran Strike. He's a real private detective, if I've ever heard of one.
I read. No, I didn't read it. I listened to the first 50 pages of the first book. I don't know. Didn't do it for me.
Well, it's always a different experience when you listen or you read, I guess. And then when you don't finish a book.
Yeah, I don't like listening to books. That was a bad idea. Maybe I'll read it at some point. We'll see.
I'll tell you what, the fourth one is long.
Getting through the first one's going to be hard enough, so let's not... Let's not put the cart before the horse, Jordan.
We never do that. We never do it. Let's go back to the Copper Pot.
All right, Copper Pot. Tim invites Al to talk about mothers, and Al is very reluctant. Guard. Yeah, he feels like it's a trick, and I would too. But no, Tim eventually, convinces him it's for real, and he talks about how his mother thinks that he only wants to talk about things on a superficial level. Al says, yeah, I agree with you. That's really all you want to do with me. At this point, there's a voice from a nearby booth, but the face is obscured by a copper pot of coffee, and it's Wilson. And
this is amazing.
It's pretty good. I mean, we'll have to play a clip, but man.
Yeah, let's play a clip, and then we'll come back.
All right. Sounds good.
Tim? Al? Wilson?
I'm really sorry, but I couldn't help but overhear what you were saying.
I didn't know that you knew about this place.
Well, I often come here when the healthy vegetable is closed. You know, I love their bean curd.
Oh, yeah. Boy, it's to die for.
Or to die from. I've had one of those things.
So I really don't mean to intrude, but I thought I might be able to offer my perspective on what you were talking about.
Al's mom's arm wobble?
No, Tim. I'm talking about the problem that you're having with your mother.
You know, when you finish talking about Tim's mother, I'd like to talk to you about my relationship with my mother.
Well, I'm sorry, Al, but I don't think I have that kind of time today.
Well, order me something, and I don't want the bean turd. What do you think?
Well, Tim, I think that you may already know the answer.
I already have the answer?
Yes, I'm reminded of something you told me a couple of years ago about your father.
What does my father have to do with this?
Well, do you remember telling me that the great regret of your life was that you never got to know him very well?
Well, he died when I was 11. I didn't have the chance to get to know him.
Well, your mom's still alive. You want to ruin that chance with her?
So yeah, we're at the Copper Pot. Wilson overhears from the next table. I can't decide if this is perhaps the most outrageous Wilson appearance or the ice fishing episode or when he's at that Japanese hotel. It's really a toss-up for me.
Oh, I think ice fishing is probably the worst.
All right. Well, this is a good one. It's definitely a top 5 entry into that list. And, you know, as you were saying, there's lots of interesting camera angles here to you can't see his face.
Obfuscate.
Yeah, sure, that's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've got the camera down really low. I know this is something that you were probably thinking about. You love the overhead camera shots. You love the down low camera shots.
Well, yeah, it reminded me a lot of Citizen Kane, frankly.
It did remind me, since I recently watched this movie, it reminded me of Austin Powers in that scene.
Oh, yeah, covering up
all the sensitive areas. Not as
funny.
much of,
Why'd you watch Austin Powers recently? You said you have no time to do things, but you found time to watch Austin Powers?
My wife and I had been talking about it for a while, and we decided to jump in. Perhaps not as funny as when we remembered being younger, but it was worth watching again. So
you're talking first one, international man of mystery?
I am talking the international man of mystery.
We're kind of lit up tonight. Sorry, guys.
A little bit, yeah. Silly episode, but... Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you've watched it?
The first one, 5 years probably.
Yeah, it was probably about the same for us. I mean, it's you know, crude, but there's still plenty of moments where I laugh and stupid stuff in there that you don't see necessarily and all that good stuff. So, what were we talking about besides camera angles?
Wilson's got to give some advice to Tim, I think.
He tries. He says, the answer to your problem. And Tim doesn't really, but they kind of work through it. And he says, you didn't get to know your dad when he passed when you were young, and your mom's still alive, so don't miss this chance. So
it always comes back to Tim's dad.
It does. That has happened quite a few times now, maybe 3 to 5 episodes. And I guess if this is the first time we see Tim's mom, right? So I guess it makes sense that he would be involved in some way.
And here's the thing. I think that in real life, that probably is the case. Like, if you're a kid and your dad dies when you're young, I guess it does kind of shape how the rest of your life goes or kind of how you act and so on. So I guess I buy it. I
can see Tim, kind of pushing this type of storyline a few times in there. So it makes sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Tim's got a new idea of how he's going to approach his mom. And we move into the garage where only bad things happen. Things
not anymore.
Getting real in that real garage. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should let you take it up to the point where you don't have any more notes.
Sure, Jordan. Tim is in the garage. Lucille, she's a sarcastic bird. She's sarcastic. I guess, apples and fall far from the tree. Tim tries to apologize. She just kind of says like, "Hey, you know what? It's okay." She's ready to, let bygones be bygones. But Tim, he pushes it a little further and he sincerely apologizes. Lucille reveals to Tim that he's always been the strong one. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a bit surprised by that. And so they talk a little bit about how when Dad died, Tim took it the hardest, but Lucille and Tim both, really struggled at moments. And there's a bonding moment here. I think, Tim is getting to know what his mom really thinks of him, and that, builds him up a little bit. And so there's some intimacy and sharing here. And Tim says, let's keep going. I want to know you more. I don't want to miss this opportunity like I did with Dad. And, Lucy gets a little bit emotional here. Yeah. When they start talking about Dad and him passing away. And I don't, I'm sure it's something she thinks about all the time. So, but it's nothing she's really talked about with Tim. And she says, they would have gotten along. She sees Tim in the garage, and he apparently was a bit of a gearhead as well. And so that's a good moment for Tim. And they head down to tool time. But not before finding out, Tim asked if Marty is really her favorite son. And I think, maybe this is part of the sarcasm that you were talking about earlier. She says yes.
I think she means it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Sort of a strange way to end the scene, then.
Does kind of undercut most of the emotional value there, but hey, I don't know. That's just how I read it.
Yeah. All right. Well, next scene, final scene, at home later. Lucy has decided to sell the house, and she's talking about that with Jill. But she says there's one thing she's really going to miss. She's apparently going to move pretty close to where Tim is and maybe continue a relationship with Mr. Leonard. We don't know. Perhaps.
I hope so.
I hope so. She talks about the one thing she is going to miss is her handyman that she had. Apparently Tim would come, fix something, and then she would pop out the old speed dial and call Hector, the handyman.
Yeah.
And lucky for Lucy, Jill has the same problem, and she passes along the information to her handyman, Joe. Tim comes in, and apparently he knows about them both. I don't know. Yeah. He says that Joe is a better handyman than Hector, like it's a slight to Lucy, and I'm not sure that it is.
I think ultimately Tim's the one that should feel slighted.
He's not gonna understand that, though. So what do you say at the end of the episodes, Adam?
Roll credits, fade to black. That's my mama.
That's my mama. Sundays.
Sherman.
Now that's a movie we need to watch again right now.
That movie. You think Austin Powers doesn't seem as funny as it used to? Watch those Nutty Professor movies and try to sit through it. Just try.
I'm not going to watch more than one, I'll tell you that.
Sherman.
Hercules. Come on, Cletus. Come on. See? All right. There's got a good line in there.
Yeah, I like you talking about it, sure. Jordan, highs and lows.
A nickel for your thoughts, I think is what you mean.
It is what I meant, yep.
All right.
Always what I mean when I don't say it.
It's always what you mean. Highs, I did like the intimate scene at the end where Tim kind of shares a little bit with his mom, and she gets a little teary-eyed. The copper pot scene is really... I don't know, like Wilson being there, but I think it's just kind of funny with how they do the angles, and Al, getting invited and is kind of trying to beat him to the punch, talking about his mom, and so he starts making fun of his own mom. So I liked a couple of those things. They just were a little bit different. Mr. Leonard, I always like Mr. Leonard, and I like the idea that Mr. Leonard and Lucy hit it off, and I think Lucy in general is kind of she brings a good presence to the episode. There's not a whole ton there that we haven't explored. If we're talking about lows now, I would say, we're exploring the Tim lost his dad early on again and how that affects his relationship. So that's a little boring. There's not a lot for the kids to do, or really even for Jill, besides being like, yeah, I know this is what happens. And even like, I know how much you love Marty, but Marty's in here for like 2 seconds, and like, what else is he doing? So it's an uneven episode for me. Only okay, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think we feel too differently on this one. I like the actress playing Tim's mom, Bonnie Bartlett. I thought she came in and she was like, she's, I don't know, I thought she had a good presence, and her and Tim had kind of good banter back and forth. Like, she is kind of strong, kind of sarcastic, but you kind of buy them as being mother and son just because they share similar traits. So I liked her. Mr. Leonard in the fold, always a good thing. I mean, I liked it that he didn't have to like get sad and run away like he did on Tool Time. So that was cool. Watching old people flirt and go out to drink Irish car bombs. That's always cool. Low lows would be not enough Irish car bombs, frankly. No, I mean, yeah, like you said, this episode just focuses on one storyline. Nobody else really has anything to do. The Wilson scene, do I think that's good or bad? Oh, I like it. I like the obscuring of the face gag. I think that's always going to be kind of funny. But yeah, it's a fine episode. Like you said, it's territory we've explored before, and probably will explore again. But at least you got a good, interesting new co-star that's going to come back and do some good stuff in future episodes. So yeah, it's slightly better than average.
Yeah, I don't know if this happens later on. I think, you talked about Lucy's and a few more episodes. I don't know if Mr. Leonard is, but I really would have liked them to go and, Tim be really jealous or, be in the business of Lucy and, spying on them or
going through her phone, reading her texts.
I want to see a conversation between Mr. Leonard and Tim where Mr. Leonard is telling him off and that whole thing, but never really happens.
She's FaceTiming Mr. Leonard, and Tim is like, "What are you doing? Get off your! Let me see your phone. Let me read your texts. Things like that." What are you talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'd really like that.
And then and then she's like, "I got a Snapchat."
Be careful! Be careful because you've got a fanfic to write on that website, and I'm waiting to see it.
Fair enough, Jordan. What's next?
Sean's social media corner. If you'd like to reach out to us, go to thehomeimpodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/homeimpodcast. We're on Twitter at homeimpodcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/homeimpodcast. If you do so for $5 or more a month, you'll get access to a bonus episode each month. This month, if we can figure out how to fit it in, we're going to do Rush Hour, and who knows what's going to happen in December. It's just... could be anything.
I think Rush Hour might happen in December, if I'm being honest.
It's possible. And always, if you'd like to support the show for free, we like that as well. Just go to iTunes or your favorite podcasting app, leave a review, put 5 stars on there, build up our ego, because we need it. We need it. So, Adam, what's going on Twitter?
Poll this week. 14 votes.
Is it a good one?
Oh, it's one of the worst. Question was, are you a doctor? 14% said not sure. 86% said no. 0% said yes.
Okay, someone said not sure, huh?
Yeah, might have. I don't know.
More than one person said not sure.
Yeah, I guess they just weren't sure. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, too bad they didn't write anything else besides that. Really good poll this week. Really good. Just really good.
It's not always easy, man. Sometimes we got other stuff going on.
I hear you.
Otherwise, Zachary Ty Bryan was recently followed by Macaulay Culkin on Twitter.
Ooh, so that's big news for us.
That was pretty cool, yeah. Tim posted a picture asking if there was anything weird about the Tool Time set.
I did not notice what was weird, but other people seem to.
I don't know. I mean, I just think that it's a recreated set that he has at his house. That's my.
I was gonna say, did he ever really give an answer?
No. But this one guy did, named Jason Allen Haring, and he posted a big cabinet, and it's full of Tim Allen paraphernalia in this, and it's crazy. He has all the Home Improvement DVDs, an autographed picture of Tim Allen. He has the Home Improvement board game, coffee mug, autographed Jay Leno picture, because I guess
they're tied at the hip.
I guess they're tied together. A lot of Binford hats. He has a lot of he probably is the biggest Home Improvement memorabilia collector I've ever seen. I mean, this is impressive stuff. There's a lot of it here, so.
It's kind of strange. I think you might have mentioned this, but he should start a podcast, maybe?
I said that he should host this podcast. Otherwise, no, not much going on. Follow us on Twitter. Promise to have a better poll next week.
Yep. All right. With that, it is time. Did you get any mail? I know you solicited mail, but I don't think we got any.
We did, but I don't know if it's a question we can really answer.
I'd like you to ask it.
Okay.
Let's rip open the mailbag.
All right, Jordan, let's rip open You're going to wish we wouldn't have, but all right.
You've got mail.
All right, this piece of mail comes from @SJ Rugby. Replying to Home Impodcast, question is, what would it take to get one of these tool companies to come out with a Binford line for a home improvement anniversary? My vote would be for Craftsman. What do you think, Jordan? What would it take? You wanted it, baby. You got it.
I don't know why you don't think we're qualified to answer that question.
Yeah, me either.
I wonder if actually they'd have to like get licensing rights from Disney to do that.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, so that would probably be part of the problem. I don't think you'd have that much of a problem.
It would take a reboot. A reboot.
Oh.
Right?
Maybe. I mean, I think perhaps maybe there is something out there like this already, but who knows?
I mean, I think there probably is, but I think he wants a new one. So what's it going to take for a new one? A reboot?
Chances of a reboot are nil, according to PR. So
yeah, according to PR. I mean, no one even asked her what she thinks.
That's right, and that's who I'm getting my sources from. So
sources say, yeah, a reboot, money. From what we heard from Carmen Finestra, it doesn't sound like there's a real good relationship between like Wind Dancer and Disney. Isn't there like a lawsuit or something?
Yeah, seems like a lot of legal problems going on there. So seems unlikely, even though it seems like the cast.
Yeah, the cast's tight. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, SJ Rugby, that we couldn't answer your question.
I think we did a great job.
But we did the best. I literally did the best I could.
Speaking of reboots, I know you're a big SNL fan. Did you watch the Steve Carell opening?
Yeah, we watched it this morning. It was the only good part of the episode.
Yeah, I didn't watch.
SNL is having a down year, but yeah, it was good to see that. That was fun.
It was funny. They got me at the end, so I didn't even know that.
I mean, you knew they weren't gonna announce a reboot.
No, I just thought it was. I thought it was a very clever way to do a monologue. So
yeah, it was
enjoyed it. So we've done the mailbag. We have social media corner. We've done it all really, except for the question of the week. Yeah,
actually, before we get into that, Jordan, I did want to plant the seed here that we're getting near the end of November, and this episode will come out, I think, right before Thanksgiving. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want people to get excited for our "I'll Be Home for Christmas" JTT episode.
Oh, is that what we decided on?
Yes, I just did.
Are you unilaterally deciding?
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. We'll release that in 2 parts around Christmas. So if you haven't watched that, dust off your Criterion edition of I'll Be Home for Christmas and get excited.
Oh, man. That's going to be one of their exclusive titles to their new streaming service coming out later. So, jeez. All right.
So yeah, I'm excited. I've never seen it, so I'm excited.
Yeah, this will be one of those ones we've both never seen. You say 2 episodes. I don't know how we could possibly get 2 episodes out of that, but we've done Stranger Things.
Yeah, definitely. What's your question for me, Jordan?
I've got lots of questions for you. Let's get sentimental a little bit here, if we can. And this could be with your mom or your dad or your grandparents. I was just wondering if you had any particular traditions that you did that stick out to you to this day.
That's so vague.
Well, Lucy comes to town. She takes the boys out for breakfast. They do this every week or whatever. I just wondered if there was anything that sticks out in the memory banks of your brain. I can go first if you'd like. Every year for my birthday, my grandma would take, each of us, all the grandkids, we would go to Toys R Us, the now defunct Toys R Us, and we would walk through the store, and we got to pick out one toy. And that was always a highlight. And she also used to, I remember in our Halloween candy bag, she would always leave like $1 or something, which is very, it's something always like a grandma would do.
Right, yeah.
So those were just a couple that came to mind right away. I was thinking of those familial traditions that are passed down or just special moments.
Yeah. So. Jordan, I'm struggling here.
Okay.
The last of my grandparents passed away when I was 13, so it's been a long time. And I have memories, but not of any specific traditions necessarily. In terms of familial traditions, oh man.
So many.
try to bring this home.
Balderdash, is that one?
Yeah, we play a lot. I mean, like, I guess probably the weirdest thing that my family does traditionally is we always opened all of our Christmas presents on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day.
You monsters.
I know. I don't know. My dad did that when he was young, so we did that when I was young, but we would just, like, wake up, make a day out of it, play board games all day. Oh, this is funny. Okay, I've stumbled onto something. So what we would do when I was younger to kind of, like Santa comes when people are sleeping traditionally.
Are you sure?
But because we did it during like the evening of New Year's Eve, my parents we'd play games all day, and then it would get dark around, I don't know, like 4 or something. We would call and order a pizza, and we would go pick up the pizza. And while I was gone, with my parents picking up this pizza, Santa would come and deliver all the presents.
Santa's got your number.
I know, he came early. It was always really nice. He came early just for me. And then I'd come back home, and we would put the pizza down and open some presents, and then have it later. So that's a unique tradition. Yeah. As we got older, the facade is kind of went away. But I remember when I was like,
still do that.
My parents never told me that Santa wasn't real. So I remember being like 18 and still having to pretend that we were ordering pizza and going and he was going to drop off gifts. So it was a little bit foolish, but like, I don't know. What are you going to do, I guess?
Hey, if you've seen the Santa Claus, which I know you have because we talked about it, I mean, you can always believe. So
yeah, seeing is not always believing, or is it? I don't know.
Ask Wilson.
We might have to rewatch that this year. I don't remember.
That's all right. You want to know what the next episode is?
Yeah, Jordan, what is it?
'Twas the Flight Before Christmas.
Fantastic. I'm excited. It's going to be great. Good stuff all around.
All right, sounds good.
Jordan,
Adam?
Thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for listening. And hey, everybody, have a great Thanksgiving with your family.
That's right. Enjoy it. Eat lots of turkey, stuffing, all that good stuff, and take care.
Take care, everybody.